And this last hour is dedicated to the Throwing Muses. Dizzy is coming up very shortly, but before that, MTV asked Kristin Hersh all about the leaving of Tanya Donnelly.
I think that it actually happened while we were making The Real Ramona, which would have been about a year beforehand, and the whole band dissolved. And it was partially my doing because I didn't want to be in the music business anymore. It's a pretty weak position of mine, but it's just the old thing about caring about what you're doing and watching it get stepped on.
Yeah.
It's hard to live with for, I guess it had been about 10 years at that point. I wasn't getting stronger. I was getting weaker in it, and I thought, it just hurts too much. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And Tanya had started writing a lot of songs. She'd never done that before. She would write something and then hate it, and she just wasn't a songwriter before, and then she became one. And so at the time, we just thought, oh, that's the answer. We can do this. And it was a good decision. It was hard because it was one of my babies, this Throwing Muses. But I thought I can put this, whatever it is, somewhere else if I have to.
Anymore.
Well, I didn't want to be Throwing Muses anymore. I wanted to divorce myself from whatever. I mean, I'm sure I was the only one who had any perception of what it was anyway, so it was a little self-indulgent on my part, I think. But we went through a series of names, and Cooley Loach was the one we decided on, and then Fred, actually, our last bass player, found some Oregon band named Cooley Loach. I thought, if someone is named Cooley Loach, then someone is named anything. We might as well be throwing music.
Welcome back to Postmodern. There's Sugar on the way, and as it happens, Bob Mould from Sugar and previously Husker Du has in fact done some work with the Throwing Muses.
I think you meet most people that are at your level in the music business if you want to. Yeah, you're around long enough, yeah. So I'd only met him about 3 or 4 times, but I'd been writing this new material, and there was the song Dio that needed a sound, some growly, violent sound going through it, just to tie it all in together and give the picture of it, almost like a natural element in it. I mean, it sounds goofy. I could have pulled it off with a guitar, but to me, that's what it would have sounded like. And he happened to show up at a video shoot, and I thought, that's it. So I called him up and left a message on his machine. He didn't call back, and I thought, oh, well, I wouldn't call back either. I couldn't do that, and he's shyer than I am. And then a few weeks later, I got a phone call. He was like, yeah, I just flew in from Europe. Of course I'll do it. He's really good at it. I don't think I could do that, but he just walked in and turned it on, and it's just Bob Mould's voice flying out of the speakers. And he did such a good job that I had to recut my vocals so he wouldn't show me up on my own record.
Some more Throwing Muses, but first we asked Kristin Hersh if she ever wanted to go solo.
I think if I did a solo album, it would be to do an acoustic record, because Throwing Muses is kind of a solo album for me. I'm very attracted to the acoustic. I think I always wrote exclusively on acoustic because I thought if you could make it happen there, it would happen anywhere. But it's also like a voice. It's your hands moving, and it moves around in the body and spits out a whole. That's really a great thing. It's nerve-wracking to do, because it's just you sitting there, and I find it hard to believe anyone would want to sit and listen to that for any length of time. So it wasn't me that put that record out. It was Ivo at 4AD, and it was like my first show on an acoustic tour before the real Ramona was released, I think.